Hey everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to Trader Minutes. Great to have you on board. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in. And let's just wrap this day up. Run over our positions really fast. We got Boeing up $1.45. So off the lows and trading higher this afternoon, much like it did yesterday. Gapped up a little bit, ran back and closing up. But today is actually a little bit of a stronger finish than yesterday. Yesterday closed at about where it opened. And today looks like it's going to run up above it. So yeah, nice move on Boeing today. Morgan Stanley, it's been a little bit weak today. Just turned positive, holding the 31.5. The seven's catching right up with it now. And I've been saying here what we would like to see here, and what the odds say are this is going to bounce higher off this 31.5 mark. Okay, that's the odds. But still, things look fine here for Morgan Stanley, and well off the lows for sure. And then Qualcomm, this one's gapped up. It's held its own throughout the day today, and it's up 28 cents, so it's up there towards the highs again, about right where it opened. It opened about this point, and nice, Steve and Joe. If you guys are into that Mankind stock, MNKD, had a nice rally this afternoon. So Qualcomm, yeah, another one rallied up here a little bit here this in the last little bit. We got half an hour left in the trading day. Man, if it jumps in the upper band, even better. But right here, it looks fine for the position. All right, so the positions are doing fine today. Run through a quick run through the top three again. MPC. I got to say that very carefully because it's close to another stock, and I don't even want to bring it up because it might bring some might get people like me if I get one stock on my mind and I think it's that stock. This has a very similar ticker to another stock that I look at every now and then. So I won't bring that up because you might get plus. You got to get them mixed up as well. But MPC, Marathon Petroleum, a move over 90. It's been holding 88. Very strong pullbacks here. Let me see here so I can get that volume on there. We just talked about it. You can see the volume. The last 3 days in a row, including today, which is going to top the last 2 days, very strong volume up here. Big buyers apparently right here below 88. 2 days in a row where this thing just shot up pretty big. So strong signal here on Marathon Petroleum. And then the other top three was Akamai, AKM. I just reading chat. Sorry, I'm in kind of a laughing mood right now. AKM, nice push here. It looks like it's locked in a higher low, and today's push up off that 7 is a strong bullish move. Looks to run up towards the $49 area, 49, 49.50. Possibly, I'd say between the 49 and $50 area. Here's where I'd look to get out. Okay, and then last one is Mastercard. And MasterCard, yeah, it's moved up a little bit since I saw it here. I talked about it just a little while ago. But another MasterCard bullish signal in the uptrend that it's been on in here. So it's pulled back, went below the 7, went above it over here. I saw it a couple days ago, didn't put it there because I like it to close above. I just try to cherry pick these. Try to like it to close above this point right here. Well, today, reversal. It went down to the 7, came back up, and is now pushing over the 840 mark. It's a pretty strong bullish signal. This is likely to go up probably another $10. $10 for this really isn't that much for a stock like this. Yeah, it could go another 20, but a $10 pretty conservative price target there on MasterCard. And it's been outperforming. Steve, you're on fire. I guess you're buying lunch tomorrow. Um, and let me look at ICPT. Steve, did you get in this one? I just kidding around. No, this is that's one of the I've been talking to Josh and Jeff around here. This is one of the biggest moves I've seen as far as about a $70 stock going to 280. about 270 where it's at right now. It's an incredible move. It's just fun to look at. Okay. Okay, let's look back here at our positions really fast. And they're still doing fine. All right. Okay, let's look at those VLO. Yeah, VLO is still running. It still looks fine. Yahoo, it's still in the upper Bollinger Band. Yahoo, it pulled back today and then came down towards the 7. Now it's pulling back up over the $41 level. It's down 8 cents. I wouldn't. There's nothing here that takes anything away from the bullish here. Las Vegas Sands, same thing. Off the lows of the day, it's still in the band there. I wouldn't jump out. I would play with the original stop there of the I believe it was the 7 or that day's open just below 80 right there. And then what's any other stock I was looking at? ADSK. I want to see where this one in Autodesk. It's off the highs. It's still up 86 cents. It's a nice push on this. There's a you could look at this as a little bit of a candlestick pattern here called a falling star. It's not a gravestone, but it's a falling star. It's not as accurate as a. I look back in the past, and when I've seen these here, well, that's a major one there. It could mean a little bit of weakness. I would think more short term in nature than anything. But and I know some of you jumped out of it this morning already. But really, the bullish nature is still there on this. The volumes are strong today. This still looks to run, even if you get some mild consolidation up at these levels. But let's look at Baidu. Okay, so if I was in Baidu and my stop was at the 7, then it's time to get out. It doesn't mean the uptrend's over. It's just meaning the odds of more upside are less than the odds of downside here. It just decreases the odds of upside at this point. So yeah, if I was in a bullish position here and it closed below the 7 like that, I'd get out and just look for another entrance. If it comes back up, pops over 180 again up off that 7-day moving average, then you got another entrance. But right here, you'd be taking the risk off the table of more downside. But that's what I do. And I always try as much as possible that if you play your stops. If you got a stop and it hits it, you get out and you move to the next trade. And if it doesn't, then you stay in. Always try to let them go out and play as originally planned. So if that was your stop, then yeah, I'd get out of Baidu and then look to trade it if it comes back up above the 7, because really the trend is still intact even with today's action. Okay. Back to MasterCard. I can't find anything in the Newsmax. If it is a split, what typically happens is the company will run up to the announcement, and then shortly after the announcement, it can run a little bit more and then sell off. If there's a split, then it does, to me, it throws a little bit of question into it. I couldn't find that, but if you've probably found it somewhere, obviously, and if that's the case, then I just to be safe, I'd probably hold off on MasterCard just to be safe. But overall, the bullishness is here. So thanks for pointing that out, Max. Okay, tomorrow they record the split. Okay, all right. It's again the typical trend, the typical pattern for companies that split on the announcement of the split. They tend to go up. They tend to rally for a little while up to the split, and then for a short time afterwards, they can rally, and then there can be not necessarily a big sell-off, but there can be a little bit of a pullback. That's the normal trend of what stocks will do going into a split like that. A big company like a MasterCard, It's probably going to get a lot of attention from the investors that couldn't pick it up. Some of the smaller traders out there that couldn't pick it up at these high dollar prices, they could pick it up to lower prices. And so, yeah, if that's the case, the most likely scenario is it could rally for a day or two and then drop back, but it throws of a little bit. It takes a little bit away from the technicals. I'll say that. Okay, thanks, Max. EOG. All right, so with EOG, let me bring in the vibe. Sorry, I'm moving around, moving around a lot. All right, so EOG, it popped back above the 7 yesterday. It wouldn't be considered a true vibe because you got the 50-day coming down. The other averages are going up, but the 50-day is coming down off of it. All right, so it's not a true vibe when it pops up over the 7 like that. Really, uh, what I'd look for here is confirmation of this wanting to run higher is a break of these highs right through. Well, I'd probably just give it 170, even the 50-day moving average. But the 50, just based on what I can see on the chart, the 50 is not that big. It shot right through it over here and really hit about 169 at this stage over there, right? But that's what I look for to get bullish on this, would be a push up over the 50. More importantly, probably the this 169 to 170 level at this point. If I was in the trade bullish, it's still above the 7. I wouldn't get out until it closed below it. Okay. Vegas, normally what happens, it might go up a few days after the split. It's at a brand new price down lower range and it will go up. It's a big company like a MasterCard. The splits are typically seen as a good thing. I've seen the normal pattern again, they usually rally up to the split and then they'll go shortly after that and then have a little bit of maybe a correction or a consolidation as they reach, they're in kind of a new range as far as the price goes. All right. I've seen stocks, but there've been not large cap stocks, maybe small cap stocks, and they'll announce a split, and they were just on fire. They've been going up, and all of a sudden announces a split, and it's like one split too many, and it runs up to the announcement, and then after the split, it's like nobody wants it, and it sells off. But for a Mastercard, it's a powerhouse. An old stock, been a very mature company. It's going to be around for a long, long time. So eventually, that's most likely what's going to happen with Mastercard. Probably go up a little bit for a day or two and then have a little bit of a sell. Okay. Price line. Yeah, so watch price line up here at this level. It shot above the 7. We're coming back to the 7, and there's also another number right there, the 1150. I'll draw that all the way across, but that's been some support for it. It gets below it, comes right back above it. So you get another move on price line where it's holding the 7, holding 1150, and tries to and starts shooting up like this. And you got a nice setup here, probably moving up here towards the highs of the 1200. But watch for that. Now, break of the 50 and break below 1150 in the 7 right there would mean some more short-term bearish signs. But right here, it's kind of at a turning point. If it's going to hold the 50 and 1150 and the 7 right in there and go higher, if it breaks through that, it's going to be pretty bearish for it. And you might get a pretty strong move lower. Okay, so just watch that within the next few days and see if that plays out around that 1150 mark. Hey, but thanks, that's a nice looking stock. All right, any other stocks you want to look at, go ahead and type them in there. I'll just go ahead and look at the market here. It turned positive of about a point, overall flat. And then Boeing up $1.42. Morgan Stanley down a cent. Again, this is just what I'd consider bullish consolidation there back to the 7. And then Qualcomm up about 29 cents. So it's going to probably close up there about where it opened. gapped up about 28 to 30 cents. And looks like that's probably where it's going to close. We still got about 15 minutes until the close. Facebook. It's got some volume here on it. Let's zoom in here. Okay, so you can see the volume there. It's pretty high, but is it breaking anything big up here? Any big support levels? Breaking the 7? Is there any breaking any big numbers up there? No, it's not. What would concern me if I see big volume like that and it's breaking down below the 7 and maybe the $55 area? That's where I'd get concerned that there might be a trend changer right here and it could reverse. But with the big volume and it's not really breaking any big areas of support, then I'm not too worried about it at this point. Now, if it does come back down and breaks the 7, and that was the stop, then it's time to exit. This one on a top 3 of mine, I believe it was on Monday. At the time, yeah, it was probably the 7. It could have been 55, but now the 7's higher, so really the risk is a little bit less here if your stops are in the 7. If it closes below, then get out. But right now, at this point, it locked in a higher low. We got a confirmation of a cup and handle pattern. See if it holds that 7 and runs higher. Okay, good question. Peabody, and I like that ticker symbol. Isn't that BTU? I like it. So, Peabody. Look at this. Trendwriter bear signal, but look where the 7 is. Up here and versus down here. It's over $1 away. It's quite overextended at this point. Does it mean it has to snap back and start to come back towards 7? No, it could continue down. But the odds at this point suggest some consolidation and let that 7 catch up with it. It could be a snapback to it. It could be just a slow sideways, slightly down or slightly up type of consolidation. But the odds at this point, I'd consider this chasing into it. Yeah, it could go lower. It could come down here towards 17. But the odds are just there saying it might consolidate. If I'm in a trade here, I couldn't argue taking a gain or at least some of it off at this point because there is that chance of some consolidation back towards the 7. AKS. Yeah, this is a big break. There's the number here. It got below 8. 8. It's towards the highs, and 8's just one of the bigger round numbers. It's not like it's been a big level for it in the past, support and resistance, but 8's a big round number. So it got up over 8, which is right here. Went up, came back to retest it, failed. Okay. Dipped below the 7. Pretty strong move below the 7. Comes back up, and today not only bounces off of below 8, also bounces back off below the 7 hard on some pretty big volumes. That's a technically significant move to see that. Now it's had a nice run here, very nice run up. There's profit taking here. It's probably like a John Deere. The whole group though, the U.S. Steel and the Nucor, they're down a bit today, but this is a pretty strong move down. If I had calls here, I'm sorry, but I don't know if I'd hold it much longer. It could come down here towards 7. It might bounce right back up, but the odds here suggest more weakness than bullishness right here at this point on AKS. All right, with VFC, let's look at this. It's a nice move. Let me, sorry. I always go back out. Got to bring this in through a vibe. You got uptrending indicators. Go back. Yeah, she's still, looking at that down there at the MACD, it's still uptrending. Overall, uptrending here as well. Okay. It's in a nice uptrend, drops below the 7. A little, it's not in a perfect position for it, but you notice yesterday's little candle right there. It's a dragon flag, and it's not that much of a bottom, but the price action here where it drops down like that, you can see it's held I don't know, 62.80, something like that, the last probably 3, 4 days in a row. And yesterday dipped below that point to finish up with pretty much break even. Today dips back below, goes negative, and then runs up over 62. It's pretty strong price action. I couldn't argue an entrance here. Could it be a little bit early? Maybe. Not that much. I'm trying to see where the highs were right through here. It's pretty much been about right there. And that would be more confirmation of a break higher. But remember, stocks like this, it's a pretty decent signal. They don't always need the volume. You got an uptrend intact. They don't always need the big volume here, and it doesn't have the big volume. You look at the selling volume, which has been pretty significant. Well, larger than the last couple of days, but that was holding that higher level up there above the about 61.80. And so really, it's a pretty strong move, and it might just gap and run tomorrow. No, I don't know if I consider it too early on a stock like that. It might just take off. It's not that bad of a signal at all. A pretty good bullish signal. PBYI Biotech. Is this Steve? No, Vegas. Oh, you're asking Steve if it's on his list. Yeah, there's the expert, the biotech expert, Steve. Technically, it had a nice breakout yesterday, and it's holding the gains today. Technically, it doesn't look weak at all. It's more bullish than bearish on it. Steve would know the insight on that probably. Bank of America, nice. It's a nice trade today. Talked a little bit about this. A nice stock today. Talked a little bit about it this morning, how it jumped a long ways away from the 7 over here, and it just held it. A little bit of consolidation, didn't get back towards the 7. It's still jumping off of it. It's strong technical action. This thing wants to keep running. And again, from a book value wise, over 20, this thing could run. It's not going to go straight there, but easy 18. Okay, Cena. Looked at this one this morning, right? It's had a pretty big pullback, 4.5%, back to the 7, back to 85. Now this is one of those things, the decisions. I'm not in this trade. One of the decisions that you get to make as a trader. Okay, if your stop's a 7, well there it is. It's at the 7. It's not closing that far below. It's pretty much right on it. It's at 85, which historically here the last few months has been a good level of support or resistance. It's right there. Is it kind of scary? Yeah. If you're in calls today, it's kind of scary to see that type of price action. But it's also holding those levels. Could it run down further tomorrow? Yeah. Could it hold this level and bounce higher tomorrow? Yeah. It's a tough call. There's nothing technically here that's saying what it's going to do tomorrow. The signals that I look for are the ones that are putting where everything's kind of lining up, suggesting it's going to do. The day-to-day price action is the tough call. So hang on a sec. I'm thinking about a saying that Jeff taught me years and years ago, and it's not coming to mind. Oh, it's not necessary to predict all price movements. You trade on the predictable price movements, and the predictable ones are where you got your indicators and your trends and everything lining up, and it's giving some action, right? It's suggesting some sort of an action, kind of like the top 3, right? If I look at MPC, that's predictable price action right here. We got our indicators, we got the strong level of support there above 88. Today it's pushing up over the 7. That's a predictable move. The day-to-day stuff on just any stock out there like this one, now we've been big nice price action. It had a predictable move over here a couple days ago where it's at the 7 pushing up above resistance right there, but it's a tough one because it's not a predictable move, but that's a tough decision, and those will make or break you as a trader. Hanging on to it, yeah, there's a chance it could run down, and also a chance it can hold its support and run higher. It just, yeah, they're fun decisions. Okay, I'm getting them behind on the chats a little bit here. First Solar. Okay, First Solar, right? It had some. It was downgraded pretty substantially from a buy to a sell. About 3 days ago on Monday, man, just a big steep drop. And all it's really doing right now is consolidating. Now, this type of consolidation is going to go either way. And that seven's probably going to catch up with it. It's either going to push back down off the seven, run down here towards the 48, $50 level, or maybe it might shoot back up above the seven. Um, it's tough to say what it's going to do, but that's what the likely scenario is. It's in kind of downtrending, so the odds would say it's more likely to go down than up, but there's always that chance that it could defy the odds and break up off that 52 and push back up over the 7. If that happens, I'm at this point where we've seen the downtrends, the lower lows, lower highs stepping in here. I'm not sold that one day up is going to take it out. It went on a top 3 over here. I believe it was last Thursday. And at the time, it would build in a base, and it had a higher low locked in there, a slight higher low. But now we got another low locked in here, so it's a tough call. But I wouldn't go bearish. I wouldn't go bullish on it. If I'm in a trade on it, if I'm bearish, I don't think I'd get out yet. But it's too early to get bullish on it. And if you do have calls from way back over there, at this point you're just kind of hoping. There's nothing saying, but they're just kind of hoping that it's going to pop back up for you. Okay. RCL. Yeah, nice. Seen this one come across the scans today. This is a bull vibe signal, and it's got everything going. It's got everything going for you. You can see the uptrending indicators. That MACD just off your screen. I'll bring it in so you can see it. Well, it's still off your screen a little bit. It's uptrending as well. Believe me on that one. Um, and some nice action here. So today, would be a variation of a three methods rising pattern, but it's not wouldn't be considered one. But you can see how it's breaking up over the recent highs right here, breaking up, pushing up over the 7, gaps up to the 7, pushes up off of it. You got strong volumes, which is another plus. It's a bull vibe. You don't always need them, but the last two, well, look at that. 4 days in a row, we've had some pretty elevated volumes. The two that were red there basically holding the 46 level, and then the buyers step in. This is a strong signal. This could move up towards I'd say 49.5 to $50 level on this type of move. It's a nice looking trade. And thanks, Vegas. Facebook. Yeah, it's off the lows, coming back up towards that 57.5 level. All right. Yeah, this looking at it technically here. Let me just okay. So zoom in on this bull vibe signal. The MACD, you notice it's not uptrending. Okay, but in a lot of these stocks, when you get this type of action, you don't always have an uptrending MACD because you've had a lot of consolidation up here around that $4.50 level. A lot of consolidation. It tried to break higher one time. Now look at the last break. It did have volume on it. Okay, well now we're back down again, breaking up once again. Now this gap's over 5 and now pushing up off it on strong volume. It's a strong looking chart technically. And it could go up towards the $6 level, which for this stock is a nice move for it to run a buck like that based on that initial price action. I haven't looked at this as far as earnings or anything like that, so you'd have to look at all that stuff. When Josh talked about earnings today, yeah, they're already starting to come out, but the bulk starts next week. So before you make any trade from here on out, make sure you go check earnings, double check them. Finviz is usually right, but they've been wrong, and they've been wrong right now. On Morgan Stanley, they're showing the 13th. It's actually, I believe it's the 17th. They're always after Wells Fargo and J.P. Morgan. Okay, but always check that out before. And some of it. There are those that like to play the earnings announcements with some lotto tickets. as far as resistance here, are you talking about 48 on this move? Okay, a lot of these signals right here, uh, they're that I give are at near levels of resistance, and I look for a couple things on that. I look for the price action. I look for the uptrending indicators. I look to see if they're closing here above the past resistance. It's just slightly below it. Doesn't have a lot of volume. Now you got some higher lows locking in here. Odds saying this can run higher, but and it look like it's closing right around the 100 day. I don't know if I'd give it the 100 day. It's not always that big of level for it. The moving average there, I'd probably put it more at 48. But the price action at this point suggesting a move higher up through the level. It gets through 48 easy within the 49 to $50 level, easy within reach of it. Last time I had a breakout, it ran about $3. I'm putting about a couple dollars higher, $1.50 to $2 higher at this point. It's fairly conservative, but no, this is still a technically strong setup. All right. CTIC, so Cell Therapeutics. Not all that familiar with it. It probably had some big news coming out here on these big, strong volumes first of the year. It's been rallying ever since. This would be chasing. This is a trade. It'd be if wanted to trade something like this. What you do is just buy calls and hope it goes. You'd buy a lot less than you'd normally buy to lessen the risk on it. But I'd consider this chasing, and it just might keep going. It might go, 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 but I'd consider it a little bit chasing at this point. AZN. Now the market just closed. Sorry, Snag. Market's closed. This is a nice looking setup. Okay. Now, let me again. I'd always check the news, earnings, or anything like that when they've got are coming. It had strong volumes yesterday, and today it's gapping up over the 7 and up to 59 and pushing higher off of it on some pretty decent volumes. Um, Technically, it's a pretty strong move. Could go up towards 60, which isn't that much further than where it's at right now. It might break it on these stronger volumes right here. They've really pushed it in the past. The strong volumes pushed it higher. So that's what I look for here. If you're in a trade, I wouldn't get out. As far as an entrance, watch it tomorrow and see if it comes back, pulls back to 59 and shoots up higher off it tomorrow. It might just run on you. But that's what I'd look for. See if it can't pull back towards the 759 and run back higher tomorrow during the day sometime. Okay. Okay, so Caesarstone. Yeah, yesterday, nice move. Okay, bull vibe, running up over 50. It had some volumes to back it on the day on this breakout. That's on breakouts like this where it's been channeling. It's about a $2.5 channel right through there. Breakouts like that, they can tend to move. This little bit of price action today, if I was bullish, I don't think I'd exit yet. Let me bring in the bands on this. Yeah, it's still within the band. Even on that little bit of a pullback, it's still in the band. I'd let it go and see where it goes. At this point, if you got to gain it, just watch that lower Bollinger. I mean, the upper band. If it closes below the band, then just get out. Okay? It looked like it was going to today, but came back up. I'm not sure if that was into the close or what, but it came back up over that upper band like that, which is always positive. I mean, this little pullback technically doesn't weaken the setup right here. Doesn't weaken the run, I should say. Lotto tickets. Lotto tickets are basically options, very, for the most part, near-term options, very inexpensive options. You buy them for dirt cheap. I mean, sometimes 5, 10 cents, 20 cents, something like that. And then you're hoping to get a move in the stock that day. And I know Max, AK, you guys are pretty good at this, and some of you others are pretty good at this. I've seen a lot of nice gains and good stocks, good calls, right, Max? You called was it Netflix a day or two ago? Not necessarily a lotto, but man, nice call. Yeah, and man, if they double, you can get double, triples on 5, 10 cent options. Hey, you hit a lotto. You buy much less. I'm not sure how much dollar wise you put in, but I'm sure it's a small percentage of your account into those trades, and just hope it runs. And if you lose it, maybe you lost $100, $70, something like that. Whatever you're investing, it's not a major hit to you. So that's what is typically meant by lotto tickets. And yeah, they can be fun to play. Yeah, Costco. Yeah, Jones. And hey, I like the name. My mom's maiden name, so we could be related. Anyways, Costco, some very bullish. Yeah, they announced during the month of December, they were, I forget the exact numbers. I got it written down here. Their comps were up 5% in December for $11.5 billion versus 10.8 billion last year. So they beat last year's numbers big time during the month of December. That's why they're up big. I mean, it was a major bearish looking trade. And then along comes some good news. And it becomes a bullish trade all of a sudden. Now, this is a fundamental move. So I wouldn't play any type of a technical read on this at all. Because that type of price action, it might keep running. It might pull back. It's just tough to call day to day right now what that's going to do. Okay. And when Apple was running, quite a few years ago, Apple was running. It was below when I remember trading it well below 100, $70, $80 range. But it started running and running and running. You could go way out of the money. In fact, I have a friend. We have a friend that he's the ultimate Apple bull. I mean, it was always, hey, what stock you looking at? Apple. Bull call spreads, Apple. Where are you going at? His strike prices he would choose were way out of the money for these bull call spreads, and it usually hit him. But and then I know some people that were buying way out of money calls for dirt cheap on Apple because they couldn't afford to buy any near the money, and it was running so hard they were paying off. But yeah, it was a fun stock to trade over the years. There's a lot of those that made those kind of moves. Okay. Um, Mankind. Just a very nice move today. I mean, some news kind of started breaking yesterday. I haven't looked at this. I'm sorry, I haven't looked at the news on it. I just saw you guys talking about it here. But now running up. How much today? 18%. Big move yesterday, a 50-cent move yesterday on a $5.50 stock. Yeah, just scored today. And congratulations, those of you who were in that. Yeah, nice move. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in today. We'll be back on again first thing in the morning. Jobs numbers come out in the morning. See what the market's reaction is to that. And let me just run through. We'll just see where the market closed. It did close with a gain. Yesterday it was about down that much, zero point 0.6 or so, and now it's up zero point 0.6, just flat for the last few days. All right, it looked like a sell this morning, but the buy the dipper stepped in. They didn't take it higher, yet brought back the losses of the day. And then Boeing finished up $1.28, still in an upper Bollinger Band. Technically this still looks strong. And then also we've got Qualcomm, finished up 23 cents. Okay, up there towards the highs of the day around the 74 level. That still looks fine. And then Morgan Stanley finished even, and that's a good finish for Morgan Stanley, holding up there above the 31.5. The seven's just right there now. What we're hoping to catch here is a push up off this level, and play a run higher. Okay, thanks for being here again. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye bye.